Another long three-pointer. Oh. She got it! Are you kidding me?
Hall of Fame player
Sheryl Swoopes, 6 foot, 145. Boy, she can do it all.
A legendary player recognized for their exceptional achievements and impact on the game.
It was the environment she had created. I was belittled, humiliated, made to feel extremely small.
Former Loyola College basketball coach Sheryl Swoopes is under investigation following allegations of player mistreatment.
Because, listen, and here's the thing, what incriminates, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, but what incriminates somebody like Sheryl Swoopes even more, who, by the way, was supposed to be calling the game with y'all yesterday, and she did not call the game, and no doubt it had something to do with the fact that when, you know, how Caitlin Clark had performed early in the week, she didn't want to talk about it at all. So we recognize that, and we know in television the way that I do. I know what producers do. I know what bosses do when you see, you know, your personal feelings, whatever they may be, infiltrating the proceedings and compromising your position as a professional. But I think in the case of Sheryl Swoopes, and I'm not going to belabor this point, but it's important to be made. Sheryl Swoopes is a winner. She was great, and she's a phenomenal basketball mind. So what she's not realizing is that when she doesn't state the obvious, it's automatically going to be assumed that it's something personal, because we know you know the basketball game, the game of basketball too well to ignore the kind of things that she's ignoring when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
Sheryl Swoopes, who had been the head coach since 2013, faced significant player turnover, with 5 players reportedly transferring last year and 10 out of 12 players not planning to return this season. As a result, the program parted ways with her, not just replacing her, but actively moving on from her leadership.
Every time Caitlin gets fouled, we can't make it seem like she was assaulted. Why like a Stephen A. Smith? It was that important to you to run the Kennedy Carter hip check, right? That was everywhere. But yet, you didn't even discuss what Alyssa Thomas did to Angel.
And what led to this? Just a few months ago, Caitlin Clark stepped in with confidence. Some might say arrogance, predicting struggles for the Indiana Fever.
We've spent 5 years calling companies, trying to get them to be a partner. And that inflection moment happens, and people are calling us saying, how can we get on your jersey patch? And so it's, you know, I've had the 5 years of that not being the case. You know, my sponsorship people would sell a Fever deal for $5,000. And I said to them, I don't even get out of bed for $5,000. Like, what are we doing here? Like, don't devalue the product. And they said, yeah, but people don't want to support it. I said, because you're teaching them they don't have to. And so we had some growth to do that got us ready for this moment. Yeah. But you know, that's, you know, Caitlin makes me look smarter, more strategic, all the things, like all of a sudden.
She dismissed Caitlin Clark's claims, insisting that no one would want to play in Indiana, and boldly asserting that top talent wouldn't sign with them.
I've known Sheryl since she was in college. I helped do her shoe deal with Nike in 1993, took her to her first ESPYs. I've known Sheryl, I've coached her, have a lot of respect for her. I called her when Caitlin was still playing at Iowa, and she had just broken Maravich's record. And it was all over the place, as you and I have discussed, that, you know, there was this quote by Sheryl that said, you know, Caitlin was, you know, 25 years old. She was, 24 years old. She was a fifth-year senior. Right. She was taking 40 shots a game. Her records were illegitimate. And I got off the treadmill and I called her as a friend. And I said, you know, you can say whatever you want. You can have your own opinion about anybody, but you do have to get the statistics right. I mean, facts matter. And if you just get ahead of this and just say, hey, I made a mistake on my numbers.
But fast forward to today, and the Fever just made history with the biggest free agency move in WNBA history. They brought in superstars, game changers, while Swoopes remained surprisingly quiet. You know that feeling when someone goes silent after making a lot of noise? That's exactly what's happening here.
Misses on a 3, rebound Howard. And as if this game hadn't already seen everything, we'll get a jump ball on a wedgie.
It's making waves across the entire league, and we're here to break it all down.
Shooting, spacing, switchable defense,
being able to play different lineups for the Fever. Like, they might be able to go small and put her at the 5 without Aaliyah Boston out there and play a lot faster. They re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. They bring in Natasha Howard. They bring in Sophie Cunningham, who's going to probably be coming off the bench from the Phoenix Mercury, who's also just someone who can wait on the wing and catch Caitlin's passes and just knock them down. Like, they have loaded up around Caitlin. Drew, you say it's similar to Warriors. I'm looking at the Spurs and being like, listen, this second-year Wemby guy is ready to go. Like, I think Caitlin Clark is at that ascension point where she's going to be top of the MVP race. We're going to talk about her in terms of stat leaders later, but the way that the Indiana Fever just made a statement around Caitlin Clark and said, like, hey, we're pushing in the chips. We're ready to win now.
But before we dive into the exciting details, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for the latest WNBA news, expert analysis, and exclusive coverage you won't find anywhere else. Now, let's get started.
I think the reality of it is that I don't think people would have known without C-squared, so shout out to Caitlin. That's just the reality. I think she's done an unbelievable job of bringing, obviously her own fans and people that support her. But, for me, I kind of laugh at it and I embrace it at the same time because I've always kind of flew under the radar. I've always kind of been that person or that player, very conservative, very introvert. So now I get to see the flip side of it. It's kind of funny. I can laugh about it because I know it's come from a genuine place, but I embrace it from a standpoint of like people not guaranteed to see me play, and now that they do.
The Indiana Fever just sent a bold message around Caitlin Clark, saying, "We're all in. We're ready to win now." They didn't just participate in free agency. They dominated it. This wasn't just about signing players. They built a powerhouse. You know that feeling in franchise mode when you go all out and stacked a roster with top talent. That's exactly what the Fever just did.
Yes. Wait. Yep. You look good on me, huh? Look good. Like a whole 360. Like, I think I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, wait, what if I go back to Indiana where I started? That'd be crazy. Look where I'm at. Yeah. So I'm happy to be back as close to my family, friends, and unfinished business too.
That's exactly what Indiana just did. They went all in, building their roster with championship-caliber players, fierce competitors, and athletes who bring both skill and charisma. This wasn't just another...
And the way they came back the second game, it just makes you excited to, okay, I want to be a part of that. They didn't lay down and quit. They came back and actually try to beat us early, that next game. So it just shows a lot about their character and how hungry they are, and I want to be a part of that.
Welcome back inside Fever Basketball. This is a moment that would have felt impossible just a couple of years ago. DeWanna Bonner sitting here in an Indiana Fever jersey, but a lot has changed.
First up, they locked in Natasha Howard, a three-time WNBA champion and one of the league's most elite defenders. Howard doesn't just guard opponents, she shuts them down. Her versatility, rim protection, and rebounding instantly elevate Indiana's defense, making them a force to be reckoned with. And they didn't stop there. They brought in Sophie Cunningham, a true spark plug. Fearless, competitive, and always bringing the energy, she thrives in high-pressure moments and plays with an edge. She's exactly the kind of player Indiana needed to fire up both the team and the fans.
Well, we've never seen a free agency where one player has had the kind of impact that Stewie has on every other decision. Talking to a front office person yesterday, and they said everyone is waiting on Stewie. So this might be players waiting to see which team has their need, which team has the cap space. Teams waiting to see the same thing. So certainly fair to say that Breanna Stewart, the dominant domino.
To round things off, they added Sydney Colson, a veteran with championship experience who brings leadership and keeps the team united behind the scenes.
Bree Jones, another 0 board for Connecticut. Better look for Mabry. Off the mark. And again, the clock operators put the shot clock at 14 rather than 24. And Caitlin Clark's frustrated, saying,